Okay, we've seen rational numbers come as fractions or decimals or percents. And we can convert from one of these to the other. Fractions to decimals and back and forth, decimals to percent back and forth, fractions to percent and back and forth. The fractions to percent is really going to go through decimals as a middleman. So this error we don't need to deal with directly because we're going to change fractions to decimals and then percent. Okay, fractions to decimals. Say we have a number like 3/20. This means 3 divided by 20, so all we do is 20 into 3, put a decimal, goes once, 20, 10, goes 5 times. 5 times 20 is 100. No remainder. Okay, so as in decimal form of 3/20 is 0.15. And often we put a 0 ahead of time to make it look nicer. When you convert a decimal to when you convert a fraction to a decimal, you'll always get either a terminating decimal like this or a repeating decimal. An example of that is 5/6. If I do 6 into 5, that goes 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. Carry the 2. Stick a 0, bring it down. 6 goes into 20 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract 2. Okay, I got a 2. So I'm just going to be repeating the same problem over and over. 6 into 20. So ways to write this are 0.833 with 3 dots to show it's repeating, or 0.83 with a bar over it to show it's repeating, or I can write 0.83 and 1/3. Cut it off anywhere I want to make a fraction out of the rest of it. So that's converting fractions to decimals. Going the other way, repeating decimals aren't so easy, but terminating ones are easy. If I have a terminating decimal like 0.24, well, that's in the hundredths place, so I'm going to write 24 hundredths. And then I just reduce it. And I see 4 goes into both of them, so 6/25. Okay? I won't show you what to do with the repeating decimal. That's a little trickier. Your calculator can do both of these things. If you do 3 divided by 20, it gives you 0.15. And I can convert back if I want. Under math, where it says change to decimal, I hit that. And sorry, I wanted to make it a fraction. Math, fraction. Okay, turns it back to a fraction. If I have, let's see. Yeah, the other one is 0.24. If I want to convert that to a fraction, I do that, and it gives it to me exactly. I don't have to go through this whole process every time, but you should know how the process works. The other thing is converting decimals to percent, okay? So say I have a decimal like 0.126. Well, let's start with a simpler one. Let's start with 0.13. Now, percent just means hundredths. 13 is the hundredths place, so my answer is just 13 hundredths. So that's changing the, that's rewriting it as a fraction, and since hundredths means percent, it's just 13%. So basically I divided 13 by 100. What did that do to the decimal? It moved it over 2 places. And that's always going to happen. It's going to move over 2 places. So if I go back to 126 here, 0.126, I move it 2 places, and I get 12.6%. So the actual number for the percent is bigger than the number for the decimal because the percent has to be divided by 100 to get that number back. Okay? So if another example, 0.087, I'm going to move it over twice, 8.7. If it was 0.8, how do I move this over twice? To move this over twice, I would need to add a 0. So it's 80%. Sorry, I should have put the percent sign there. Okay? even a whole number like 3. Where's the decimal? Here. So I need to move it over 2 places. So it's 300%, which makes sense. It's more than 1, which is 100%. Going the other way, if I have a percent and want to change it to a decimal, let's say I have 6%, I have to move the decimal the other way now, okay, because I have to divide this number by 100. So 1, 2, 0.06. If I have 72.8%, I move it 2, and I get 0.728. If I have 375%, the decimal is at the end, so I move it 1, 2, 3.75. Okay, simple enough. And if you're going from a fraction to a percent, you go through the decimal process first, and vice versa. For example, I want to know the percent for 2/5. 2/5 I'm going to convert to a decimal. And I get 0.4, because that goes evenly. 0.4 is going to convert now, move it over 2 places, to 40%. So 2/5 is equal to 40%. So that's about all there is to that subject.